everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep into multipreneurship today.
Oh, yeah, multipreneurship.
Have you heard of it?
It's a pretty buzzy term right now.
Yeah, it's everywhere these days.
Running multiple businesses all at once.
Exactly.
Sounds kind of crazy, right?
It does sound a little overwhelming, maybe.
But maybe also kind of amazing.
It could be.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, we are, because we're breaking down an interview with Greg Eisenberg.
Oh, yeah, from Grind Success.
Mm-hmm. He's built like a $10 million a year business empire.
Whoa.
I know. Pretty impressive, right?
It's very impressive.
So we're going to figure out how he did it.
What we can learn from him.
Yeah. And if multipreneurship is even the right path for you.
I like that.
So Greg...
He's not your typical Silicon Valley, unicorn founder.
No, not at all.
He's not chasing venture capital. He actually runs this holding company called Late Checkout.
Okay.
With a bunch of different businesses underneath.
So these are real businesses.
Real profitable businesses.
Not just chasing hype.
Not just hype machines.
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So that was something I found really interesting, too, is that it really challenges that whole go big or go home mentality
yeah.
that we always hear about with startups.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into all of that, can we just take a step back for a second?
Sure.
And define what multipreneurship actually is.
Absolutely.
For people who maybe don't know.
Yeah. So at its core, multipreneurship is about managing multiple businesses at the same time.
Okay.
So it's kind of like diversifying your income streams instead of relying on just one.
Yeah.
You're spreading your risk across multiple ventures.
Also, it's like having multiple safety nets.
Exactly.
Especially in today's kind of unpredictable economic climate.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that makes it even more relevant today is AI.
Oh, interesting.
AI tools are making it so fast and accessible to launch and scale a business.
Oh, wow. Even if you don't have tons of resources or expertise.
Exactly.
That's really interesting.
It's not even just about launching faster, though. AI can also automate so many tasks. Oh, okay.
It gives you more time to focus on strategic decisions and actually growing your businesses.
So it's not just about having more businesses, it's about having more efficient businesses.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so that's really interesting. Now that we kind of have an understanding of what multipreneurship is, let's get into Greg Eisenberg's story.
Okay.
Because his path to success is not conventional at all.
Not at all.
He actually experienced a horrific school shooting when he was only 17.
Yeah, you can imagine that event had a profound impact on his life.
Oh, for sure.
Really shaped his perspective on what matters.
Yeah.
And fueled his drive to make a difference in the world.
It's just amazing how such a tragic event can lead someone down a path of such incredible resilience.
Yeah.
And creativity.
It's a testament to the human spirit.
Yeah, it really is.
So from that point on, Greg just threw himself into entrepreneurship.
Okay.
He built a social network that ended up getting acquired.
Wow.
Then led product at WeWork during its crazy growth. And then, of course, its dramatic fall.
That must have been a roller coaster.
Oh, for sure.
So it makes you wonder, did that experience shape his approach to building more sustainable businesses?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
That's where his focus on profitability comes in.
Okay.
Rather than just growth for growth's sake.
Mm-hmm.
He learns the hard way that chasing venture capital and hype isn't always the path to long-term success.
So it's not just about building a unicorn, it's about building a business that can actually stand on its own 2 feet.
Exactly.
And that's where his unique approach to client acquisition comes in.
Yeah, what he calls the ACP funnel.
Okay.
Now, you're not going to believe this, but Greg charges $1.5 million per client.
Wait, $1.5 million?
$1.5 million.
Okay, we need to hear more about this ACP funnel.
Yeah.
How is he landing clients who are willing to pay that much?
Well, it's not some magic trick. It's a really strategic approach.
Okay.
That focuses on building genuine relationships and understanding your client's needs on a deep level.
And it all starts with building an audience.
Okay.
Believe it or not, Greg started with just 10,000 followers on Twitter.
10,000 followers.
10,000 followers.
That's surprising.
It's not that many, right?
It seems a lot more attainable than I imagined.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. You don't need millions of followers to start building a successful business.
Mm-hmm.
What matters is cultivating a community.
Okay.
An engaged group of people who trust your expertise and value what you have to say.
So it's about quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Building a real connection with your audience.
Exactly. And once you have that connection, you can start identifying their pain points, their needs, their desires.
Okay.
That's how you move from having an audience to having a community.
Gotcha.
You create a space where people feel heard understood and connected.
Okay, so he builds this community, he understands their needs, and then what?
Okay, so that's the P in the ACP funnel, offering a product they actually need. Because he's invested the time in building relationships and understanding his community's challenges, he can create solutions that are perfectly tailored to solve their problems.
That's really valuable.
It's very valuable.
That's like he's not selling them something, he's providing a solution
exactly
that they've been looking for.
And that's how he landed that first $1.5 million client for his innovation agency.
Wow.
It wasn't about slick sales tactics. It was about building trust and delivering real value.
That's a powerful lesson.
It is.
So we've seen how Greg went from solopreneur to multipreneur.
Mm-hmm.
He built this successful agency, but how did he expand from there?
Yeah.
Did he just repeat the process with new businesses?
You know, it's interesting. He essentially replicated the ACP funnel model with his other ventures.
All right.
So take Dispatch, for example.
Mm-hmm.
It actually started as a Twitter account sharing design inspiration and quickly gained a dedicated following.
So again, starting with building that community, establishing himself as a trusted voice.
Okay.
And then they took it a step further. They built a product in just 72 hours.
What?
Launched a design subscription service.
Okay.
And generated 7 figures in their first year.
Wait, 72 hours?
72 hours.
That's incredibly fast.
Yeah, it shows what's possible when you have a clear understanding of your audience and their needs.
Sure.
And he didn't stop there. He did the same thing with Boring Marketer, an AI-powered SEO tool.
Okay.
In its first year, it generated $350,000 in profit, and it's projected to reach $2 to $3 million in year 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
So he's diversifying his income streams,
Mm-hmm.
but he's also creating scalable businesses with recurring revenue.
Exactly.
That's smart.
Yeah.
But running multiple businesses like this must require a lot of people.
Yeah, it does.
How does he manage to find the right people for each venture?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll explore more in depth later.
Okay.
But one of the key takeaways from Greg's approach to hiring is that he leverages his community.
He calls it community-first hiring.
Oh, interesting.
Which means he often recruits from his engaged audience.
So instead of going through the traditional hiring process, he's tapping into this pool of people that already know and trust him.
Exactly. We'll dive deeper into the specifics of how he makes that work later.
Okay. I'm very curious to hear about that.
Yeah.
But before we move on, I have to ask,
Yeah.
where does Greg get all these brilliant business ideas?
Oh, yeah.
Does he just have like a magic idea generator or something?
It's funny you should ask that because Greg actually has some really unconventional methods for brainstorming new ideas.
Okay.
He uses tools like redditlist.com.
Okay.
Which analyzes fast-growing subreddits to identify emerging trends.
So he's not just looking at what's popular now. He's trying to anticipate what's going to be popular in the future.
Exactly.
That's really smart.
And he also uses gummysearch.com, which helps him identify the problems that people are actively searching for solutions to.
So he's tapping into real-time data to understand what people are struggling with.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
It is.
And that's a key principle for him. The best businesses solve real problems.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about his journey to becoming a multipreneur.
Yeah.
His approach to client acquisition. And even his strategies for coming up with new business ideas.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what does a typical day look like for someone running 6 businesses?
Yeah.
Is it all chaos and constant hustle? Or does he have some kind of routine?
You might be surprised to hear that Greg actually prioritizes balance in his daily routine.
Really?
Even with all his responsibilities.
Wow. Okay.
He starts his day early, but he takes time to watch the sunrise and ease into his day mindfully.
So no frantic scrambling to get to the office at the crack of dawn?
No, not at all.
Right.
He believes in setting the tone for a productive but also balanced day.
That's nice.
Yeah. And then he focuses on 2 to 3 key tasks for the morning, prioritizing the things that will make the biggest impact.
That's a great tip.
It is.
It's so easy to get bogged down with all the little things.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But it's important to focus on those high-impact tasks to stay on track.
Absolutely. And while he's incredibly dedicated to his work, he also understands the importance of taking breaks and recharging. He makes sure to fit in a 45-minute workout in the afternoon to clear his head and boost his energy.
It's refreshing to hear that he prioritizes his well-being.
Yeah.
Amidst all this success. It's a good reminder that you don't have to sacrifice your health to build a thriving business.
Exactly. And he's not one of those entrepreneurs who's constantly plugged in.
Okay.
He makes a conscious effort to unplug in the evenings and create a clear separation between work and personal time.
That's so important.
Yeah.
To prevent burnout.
For sure.
Sounds like he's found a really healthy balance.
He really has. And his routine challenges the myth of the constantly hustling entrepreneur. It shows that you can achieve incredible things while still prioritizing your well-being.
Okay, so before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
I
have one final question.
Okay.
If Greg could go back in time, what advice would he give his younger self?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
His answer is surprisingly profound. Oh. He said he wasted years trying to be the next Mark Zuckerberg, chasing someone else's dream instead of his own.
Oh, wow.
His advice.
Yeah.
Find your truth.
Mm-hmm.
Ignore the noise, the hype, the expectations, and go after what truly matters to you.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
It's so easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to others.
Yeah.
Especially in the world of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, especially in entrepreneurship.
But it's a great reminder that the most fulfilling and successful path is the one that aligns with our own passions and goals.
It is.
Our own truth.
Yeah.
It's like you said, right? It's so easy to get caught up in chasing external validation.
Yeah, totally.
But ultimately, it's about finding what truly lights you up.
Absolutely. And Greg's story is a perfect example of that. He didn't follow the conventional path. He carved his own.
Yeah, and that's what makes him so inspiring.
For sure.
So let's shift gears a bit and talk about the practical side of multipreneurship.
Okay.
We've talked about Greg's successes.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there have been challenges along the way.
Oh, definitely.
So how does he handle the complexities of managing multiple businesses at once?
Well, that's where his systems and processes really come into play.
Okay.
He's a big believer in leveraging technology and automation to streamline his operations.
That makes sense. You can't be bogged down in manual tasks when you're juggling multiple ventures.
Exactly. He uses project management tools, communication platforms, and AI-powered automation to keep everything running smoothly.
So it frees up his time to focus on the big picture.
Exactly, the strategic decisions that drive growth.
It's like having a virtual team of assistants working behind the scenes.
It is, and that's one of the keys to his success. He's not afraid to delegate and empower his team.
Oh, that's huge.
He trusts them to handle the day-to-day operations so he can focus on the strategic vision.
That's a valuable lesson for any entrepreneur, whether you're running one business or 6.
Absolutely.
Building a strong team is essential.
You can't do it all yourself, especially as you scale.
So we've talked about his systems and his team, but what about the mental game of multipreneurship?
Yeah.
How does he stay focused and motivated when he's got so many different projects going on?
Well, one thing that helps is that he's genuinely passionate about all of his businesses.
Okay.
They all align with his interests and values, so it doesn't feel like work to him.
That's amazing.
It's like he's turned his passions into a thriving ecosystem.
He has, and that passion fuels his drive and keeps him going even when things get tough.
Exactly, and he also prioritizes self-care.
Oh, that's important.
He knows that he can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
So he makes time for exercise, meditation, and spending time with loved ones.
We often hear about the hustle and grind mentality, but it's refreshing to see someone who prioritizes well-being as part of their success.
It's a more sustainable approach, for sure, and it ultimately leads to better results.
Okay, so let's revisit Greg's approach to finding those million-dollar problems to solve.
Okay.
We briefly touched on his use of Reddit list and Gummy search.
Yeah.
Can you dive a little deeper into how he uses those tools to generate business ideas?
Absolutely. He's a big believer in using data and insights to inform his decisions. And these tools provide a wealth of information about what people are searching for and talking about online.
So it's not just about brainstorming in isolation, it's about tapping into the collective intelligence of the internet.
Exactly. With Reddit list, he can identify fast-growing subreddits, which are essentially communities focused on specific topics.
Okay.
By analyzing these communities, he can get a sense of what people are interested in, what problems they're facing, and what solutions they're looking for.
So it's like a window into the zeitgeist, the current trends and conversations shaping the world.
Exactly. And Gummy Search takes a different approach.
Okay.
It focuses on identifying the gummy problems, the ones that people are actively searching for solutions to online.
Okay.
By analyzing search queries, he can see what people are struggling with and what kind of products or services they're looking for.
It's like having a direct line to the pain points people are experiencing.
It is, and that's incredibly valuable for any entrepreneur.
Yeah, so it's not just about coming up with a cool idea. It's about validating that idea with real-world data.
Exactly. You want to make sure there's a genuine need for your product or service before you invest time and resources into building it.
That makes a lot of sense. And this approach aligns perfectly with his philosophy of solving real problems.
Exactly.
Now, we touched on his community-first hiring earlier. Can you elaborate on how he leverages his community to find and recruit top talent?
Sure. He believes that the best people to work for him are often already part of his community.
Okay.
They understand his values, his vision, and his way of doing things.
So he's not just looking for skills and experience, he's looking for alignment.
Exactly. And he's found that this approach leads to a much higher retention rate.
Oh, wow.
People are more likely to stay with a company when they feel connected to its mission and values.
It's a win-win. He gets talented people who are invested in his success, and they get to work on projects they're passionate about.
Exactly. And he doesn't just rely on people reaching out to him.
What?
He actively engages with his community, participating in discussions, answering questions, and building relationships.
So it's not just a one-way street.
Exactly. And when he has a job opening, he often announces it to his community first.
Oh, wow.
This gives his audience a chance to apply before the position is even listed publicly.
So he's tapping into this pool of pre-vetted candidates who are already familiar with his work.
Exactly. And it saves him a lot of time and effort in the hiring process. He's not sifting through hundreds of resumes from strangers.
So it's a smarter, more efficient way to build a team.
Exactly. And it's a testament to the power of community.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about Greg's journey, his systems, his team, his approach to idea generation, and even his hiring practices.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
But I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, his daily routine.
Okay.
You mentioned that he prioritizes balance, which is impressive given all of his responsibilities.
It is.
Can you walk us through a typical day in his life?
Sure, he starts his day early, usually around 6:00 a.m., but he doesn't jump straight into work.
Okay.
He takes some time for himself to watch the sunrise, meditate, or simply enjoy a cup of coffee.
So it's about setting the tone for a calm and productive day.
Exactly. He believes in starting the day with intention rather than rushing into things.
That makes sense. And after his morning routine, what does his workday look like?
He focuses on his most important tasks first.
Okay.
He calls it eating the frog, tackling the biggest, most challenging task of the day before anything else.
I like that analogy. Get the hard stuff out of the way so you can focus on the rest.
Exactly. And he doesn't work for hours on end without breaks. He takes regular breaks throughout the day to move his body, clear his head, and recharge his energy.
So it's not about grinding yourself into the ground.
Not at all. He understands the importance of rest and rejuvenation.
And how does he manage his time across his multiple businesses? Does he have dedicated days for each venture?
He has a system for that, too.
Okay.
He uses a time-blocking technique where he allocates specific blocks of time on his calendar to each business.
So it's about creating structure and boundaries.
Exactly. This ensures that he's giving each business the attention it deserves without getting overwhelmed.
That's a great tip for anyone juggling multiple projects. And what about evenings and weekends?
Yeah.
Does he ever truly unplug?
He makes a conscious effort to unplug in the evenings.
Okay.
He spends time with his family, reads, or pursues his hobbies.
So he has a life outside of work.
Absolutely. He believes that having a fulfilling personal life is essential for his well-being and his success.
That's a great message. You don't have to sacrifice everything to be successful.
Exactly. And on weekends, he usually takes a complete break from work.
Wow, good for him.
He uses that time to recharge and reconnect with himself and his loved ones.
So it's about finding that balance between work and life.
Exactly. And Greg's routine is a great example of how to do it.
It's really inspiring to see someone achieving so much while still prioritizing their well-being.
It's a reminder that success doesn't have to come at the expense of your health or happiness.
Well said. So before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to something we discussed earlier, the importance of finding your own truth.
Yeah.
Greg's advice to his younger self was to ignore the noise and go after what truly matters to you.
Right.
But how do you actually do that? How do you find your truth in a world that's constantly bombarding you with messages about what you should be, what you should do, and what you should achieve?
That's a great question, and it's something that a lot of people struggle with.
Especially in today's world, where we're constantly connected and bombarded with information.
Exactly. It can be overwhelming.
So what advice would you give to someone who's trying to find their own path?
I would say start by tuning out the noise.
Okay.
Disconnect from social media, turn off the TV, and create some space for quiet reflection.
So it's about creating space for introspection.
Exactly. Spend some time journaling, meditating, or simply sitting in silence and listening to your inner voice.
It's so easy to get caught up in the external world that we forget to listen to our own intuition.
Exactly. And once you've created some space, start asking yourself some tough questions.
Okay.
What are you passionate about? What are your values? What do you want your legacy to be?
Those are big questions, but they're important ones.
They are, and the answers will help you clarify your purpose and your direction.
So it's not about finding the right answer, it's about finding the answer that's true for you.
Exactly. And once you have a better understanding of yourself and what you want, you can start making choices that align with your values.
So it's about aligning your actions with your beliefs.
Exactly. And that's how you start to live a more authentic and fulfilling life.
That's a powerful message, and it's something that I think we all need to hear.
I agree. It's easy to get caught up in the rat race and forget about what truly matters.
So let's wrap up this part of our deep dive with a challenge for our listeners.
I love it. What's such a challenge?
I challenge you to take some time this week to disconnect from the noise and reconnect with yourself.
Okay.
Spend some time in nature journal, meditate, or simply be present in the moment.
That's a great challenge, and I encourage everyone to take it seriously.
Because when you take the time to connect with your inner truth, you open yourself up to a world of possibilities.
You do, and you might be surprised at what you discover.
Well said. So on that note, let's move on to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore Greg's golden nuggets of wisdom and the key takeaways from his journey. Okay, so we're back.
Back for round 3.
The final part of our deep dives into the world of multipreneurship.
Multipreneurship.
With Greg Eisenberg.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It really has. His story is just packed with so much valuable insight and advice.
So much good stuff.
Even if you're not trying to build a multi-million-dollar empire.
Yeah, for sure.
There's just so much to learn.
Yeah, tons of takeaways that can apply to anyone looking to start or grow a business.
Yeah, or even just navigate their career path in a more fulfilling way.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I found really interesting was his emphasis on building genuine relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Both with his clients and his community.
It's not about those transactional interactions, It's about creating a space where people feel connected and valued.
That's so important. And we hear so much about networking.
Yeah.
But he's taking it to a whole new level.
A whole other level.
Yeah, by really investing in those relationships.
Yeah.
And building a strong community around his businesses.
And that community becomes so valuable. In so many ways. It's a source of support, feedback, and even talent.
Right, like his community first hiring?
Yeah, exactly.
That was brilliant.
It's a brilliant way to tap into a pool of passionate people.
Who were already aligned?
Already aligned with your vision.
Yeah, and it goes beyond just hiring. Right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like that community can be a source of new ideas, collaborations,
Totally.
early adopters, even for your products or services.
Yeah.
It's like this built-in focus group and support system all in one.
All in one.
And another key takeaway was his focus on solving real problems.
Oh.
It's not about just chasing trends or building something for the sake of building it.
For sure.
It's about identifying a need.
Yeah, a genuine need.
And creating solutions that make a difference in people's lives.
It's about impact.
Yeah. And that's what makes his businesses so successful.
Yeah, they're not just products or services, they're solutions.
Exactly, to those pain points that people are actively searching for.
Which is a recipe for sustainable growth.
And impact.
And
let's not forget his unconventional approach to idea generation.
Oh, yeah.
Reddit lists.
Your Reddit list.
Gummy search.
Such
smart ways to tap into real-time data.
Yeah, and understand what people are talking about searching for.
What they're struggling with.
Yeah.
It takes all the guesswork out of brainstorming.
It does.
Allows you to validate your ideas before investing a ton of time and resources.
It saves you so much time and energy.
Yeah. And one final takeaway I want to highlight is his emphasis on balance.
Oh, yeah. Balance is key.
Even though he runs multiple businesses, he still prioritizes his well-being. Makes time for things he enjoys outside of work.
Things that bring him joy.
We always hear about the hustle and grind mentality.
Hustle and grind.
But his story shows that you could achieve success while still maintaining a healthy work-life balance.
Absolutely. It's more sustainable and ultimately more fulfilling.
It is. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a few key questions to reflect on.
Oh, I like that. Let's spark some introspection. What are those questions?
Okay, so first, what problem are you passionate about solving? What unique skills or experience do you have that could help you create a solution that makes a difference?
Finding that intersection between your passions and the needs of the world.
Exactly. And second, what's one small step you can take today to start exploring that problem further or start building a solution?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be huge.
A tiny step.
Just a small action to move you in the right direction.
Love it. Small steps consistently taken lead to amazing results.
Exactly. And finally, how can you build a community around your work or your passion?
Yeah.
Who are the people who share your interests and values?
Yeah.
How can you connect with them and create a space for collaboration and support?
Such a powerful question. Building a community can be so transformative.
It can.
Both personally and professionally. It's about finding your tribe and creating something bigger than yourself.
I love that. So as we end this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a sense of possibility and empowerment.
Yes.
Greg's story is proof that anything is possible when you combine passion, purpose, and a willingness to think outside the box.
Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo, to forge your own path and build something truly meaningful.
And you don't have to do it alone. Build a community, find your tribe, and support each other along the way.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep building. We can't wait to see you.